down, the sirens blare. Feel the static in the air. Next gen rising, we don't care about the fear clinging there. Step in line, hear the beat drop. Body, mind, so we don't stop. We won't stop. Train it up, train it high. Next gen reaching for the sky. Push the limit, don't ask why. This is how we're born to fly. March to the future, neon glow. Through the fire we will grow. Every move a deadly flow. Next gen rising, let it show. Eyes ahead, the rhythm calls. Stand up tall, we break the walls. Train it up, train it high. Next gen reaching for the sky. Push the limit, don't ask why. This is how we're born to fly.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Next Gen Training. Listen, man, my brother Bennett, man, he's out traveling, taking care of, um, R&R with his family, man. Salute to you, man. Hope you make it back safe, man. Hope you're having a good time. You know what I'm saying? Hope you're just enjoying yourself, man. Take plenty of pictures for me, man. So, yeah, man, salute to you, man. So, um, listen, man, we here again, man. What's up, brother David, man? We got a really good show for y'all today. Finding the right coach is the title. Um, what really matters, and when we say finding the right coach, you know, there's all kinds of coaches. There's life coaches, there's sports coaches, there's financial coaches, there's, mental, relationship coaches. There's all kinds of coaches, but the coach we're talking about is a physical fitness coach, a workout guru coach, a motivational um, coach when it comes to, you know, getting your physique together. Or could that just be within your own psyche? Can you coach yourself up to do the things that are necessary to get the body of a Greek god? What's up, brother Bennett, man? I thought you'd be over in the in the country, man, just walking around with your shoes off by now, man. Just enjoying yourself, man.
Listen, I've done more than my share of walking today. You don't know
Okay.
anything about Grenada. It's a small place, but it's got a lot of hills, a lot of trek. You will get a workout in. Your glutes will be fried. And
Mm,
even on the campus where my daughter is, it is a hilly place.
mm,
And not to mention, it's nearly 90 degrees down here with max
mm.
humidity. So sisters, don't be coming down here without your hair braided up or something you get some of your hair, because any perm you guys gonna be destroyed by the time you get down here. So it is no joke. The weather, getting used to that, getting used to the humidity, getting used to the hills, just going from one place to another, even just from the our where we're staying, it's like it's got these cottages set up. So you
Mm,
have to go, well, it's not just going to a place and you take an elevator up to your floor. Now you got to walk, bro, up and down some hills before you get to your spot. So you go to dinner at the main spot, you work it off when you come back. So it is a challenging and beautiful environment. I mean, our room, you go outside and it is like picturesque. The only thing is it's not well lit at nighttime, so you can't really appreciate what you're seeing at night. But it is a gorgeous view that that we're just blessed to get up every morning and see that. And the island itself, especially where the campus is, it's a beautiful spot. So again, very glad to be able to come down here. I think my daughter really needed us here to give us some support. And so we're going to be helping around over the next couple of days. Her white coat ceremony is on Saturday, and we're going to be, working with her to ensure that she's got everything she needs before she comes back in December. So it's been, definitely, very glad to be here, and she was glad to see us. So everything is good, man. Everything is good.
no, man, salute to y'all, man. Like I said, man, I was just think right before you came in, man. Hope you make it back safe, man. Obviously, you
Appreciate
enjoying
it.
yourself and getting your good workouts in, man. Coaching yourself up and down them hills. Coaching,
Well,
I'm
it's
sure.
interesting. It's interesting too because it definitely teaches you what I'm always saying, that fitness is specific. So it doesn't matter. Like I'm literally there's a gym here at the resort we're staying at. So my wife and I are going to get up in the morning and we're going to hit that and get our workout in. But again, it's going up and down hills. Just because you might be in gym shape, that don't mean that you hill shape, or nor vice versa. So again, fitness is a very specific type of thing, and you train, you get conditioning. People will always ask me what conditioning is. You get conditioned by the repetitive actions of what you're doing. So when my daughter got here initially, she was doing the huffing and puffing in terms of, it's like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? But now she's clowning us because she takes those same trails and hills every morning. And so she's getting, certainly she's gotten acclimated to to the environment. And so, so yeah, so it's just another lesson again in terms of what you need to be doing. Fitness. There's no one type of fitness. I mean, everyone's going to be a little bit different in that regard, and you need to be prepared for it. Certainly when it comes.
So, Brother Benny, let me ask you real quick. As far as your daughter's adjustment, has she adjusted to the climate and the terrain so
Well,
far?
yes, yeah. So far, she's definitely certainly much more than us, which is again like we're sort of like the fitness enthusiasts. But again, when you have this kind of heat, and again, I don't go. In fact, this is one of the things I was wanting to do is to do a little bit more trail hiking and things of that nature, just as a activity. But for here, I mean, the hills are literally this steep,
You getting
and
into it every
so
day, huh?
yeah, and even going down is so steep that your toes will start to hurt a little bit because you're trying to
You gotta
stop
stop
yourself from
yourself. Yeah.
tumbling forward. So you got that going on as well as the as well as the going up hills and everything, or climbing flights of stairs. And again, we went up this one. So the way the campus works is again it's high low. You come in, it's kind of low. Most of the classrooms is up high. The only way to get to those now, again, you can take that. They do have shuttles that'll run you up there. But our daughter, I guess she just wants to, show off. She said, "We're gonna walk it." So you either walk up a long hill that goes up, or you kind of go halfway the other way around. But then there's some stairs that then
Mm-hmm.
take you up to the other side of it. So you can do either one, and make it make your way in there. But we were, I admit I was definitely I was bowled over when I got to the top of that hill because, like I said, I was not expecting that kind of that kind of environment. But yeah, but I could certainly see, it was motivating to an extent because, like I said, if I stayed here for a few weeks or whatever, and if I had to do that every day, I'd be like, yeah, I think I'll get pretty good at this. And so, so yeah, so I think she's fairly adjusted there. She just has some logistical things. In fact, she's moving. This is going to be her third move
Wow.
in the past. in the past couple of weeks. So she got it initially. There's some things going on with her dorm that she had to leave the spot. But now she's getting ready to move back over there. They had to do some things to take care of it, but because she was staying with these roommates, and that wasn't necessarily working out too well. And so we had to, make an adjustment and get her to a better situation. And so when we were able to do that, so again, that takes place actually this Saturday. And so we get her there on Saturday, and we'll be able to, get her settled in. So she should be good, like for the rest of the semester. And the good thing about it is she'll be by herself, because one of her initial roommates, for some reason, she had to sort of take the rest of the semester off. So she'll have the whole place to herself, and she'll be able to really focus and not have any, like I said, distractions when it comes to anything. So she's in a good place. But let me see if I can share this. This is, like I said, when we were coming up the hill, and this is me at the top of the hill. So this is me kind of bowled over because it was so hilly going up there, man. I'm telling you, we were we were pretty exhausted. Let me see if I got a video here. Let me see if I can share this and see if we can get this to play. This is So am I still sharing? Okay, so this is us going. All right, so this is the one of the hills going all the way up. So that's you go
Brother Bennett,
on
the video was playing.
way up that. She does that every. So it's like, imagine, and you guys to go take this path every day, sir. The video went off. I think I might have lost. Hang on. It says it's.
No, you good. It's just got a delay. You good.
So let me see if I can get it.
Got a delay, but it's playing.
Let me see if I can get it back.
It's playing. No, it's playing. Brother Bennett, it was playing.
I
It was
think we got
playing
it
pretty
back.
good. You just have a delay.
Yeah. So this is kind of at the top, so you can see. So we came all the way up there. If you can still, I don't know if you can still see that, but I mean, basically, you got it was just a long. So you got to do that every day. Take those steps every morning. You will definitely get in some kind of physical shape when you're up there. When you're up there doing that, so it was pretty amazing. But it's a beautiful. I mean, once you see, the water is gorgeous over there, and it's really just a nice, place where you can really kind of get focused. You know what I mean? Like if you really want to, not care so much about distractions or whatnot. You look at the water, the scenery, and everything. It's a gorgeous place. So I mean, I was very impressed with the setup, over there, and just what she was able to do. In fact, let me see if I can show one more picture here.
Yeah, them
See if
steps.
you can see that.
I can see those steps. Those steps was pretty. Yeah, it's like almost a quarter mile of steps.
Yeah. Nah, it was brutal. But good times all around. And so we're gonna be here tomorrow. We just gonna chill. Like I said, we're gonna work out, and we're just gonna relax. We're gonna hit the pool. And it's interesting because to get to the pool is like the stairs to get up to the pool is like straight up.
Mhm.
So you climb those, and the first thing you want to do when you get there is just jump and dive into the pool. You saw what we saw it the first day we came in. It's like, oh man, we got to hit this. But when we just to get up there, like I said, it's a very hilly sort of castaway right off a lagoon, and so there's just a lot of physical, but we're grateful because again, I mean, just to be in shape. Because again, I would tell anybody this place is not for everybody, and if you don't have a modicum of some fitness, if you're not ready for hills or whatnot, this might not be the place for you. Stay at the the main hotels downtown, the Ramada, and some of those places. But these little villa places where it's a little off the beaten path a little bit. Again, but like I said, the scenery is great, but you got to work to get there, and that's really where the difference
Well,
is.
make sure when y'all coming back from that swimming pool, make sure y'all slippers or shoes, whatever y'all wearing, are not slippery. Make sure there's no water in sight and hold on to the
Absolutely,
rails. Make sure you
yes,
hold on to the
absolutely,
rails because I don't
one
want,
hundred percent. One of
you
because the
gotta.
stairs themselves, that's weird because they're a little like uneven. Like there'll be a narrow stair, then a tall stair, narrow stair, then a tall stair.
Mhm.
And it's like a spiral too, so it kind of winds up and whatnot. So yeah, so you got to make sure that every step is taken with care. This is
Yeah.
not like I said, this place is not for the weak at heart. And but again, I'm just grateful that we have a certain level of fitness in order to be able to do those things. So yeah, so I figured I'd stop in and talk a little bit. I know today we're going to be talking about, how do you pick a trainer? I didn't know, quite frankly, I didn't know, as I announced last week, I didn't know if I'd be able to be on the show because I didn't know how the days were going to go out. But the days for us in relatively early, especially with daylight savings time, because it's so sort of off the beaten path, you don't
Too
necessarily
much
want to
light.
be out at night. So yeah, because this place isn't well lit. I mean, just the place itself, there's not a lot of lighting and whatnot. So you don't want to be walking around by yourself at night to some of these places and things of that nature. So we have a pretty early night, and then so we just chilling, in for the rest of the night. So it's like, okay, I think I kind of come on, maybe hit a few spots that I want to kind of raise tonight, and then we can kind of call today. But I know I sent you the list ahead of time. It's just some of the points that I wanted to raise. So any one of those you
Yeah.
wanted to bring up, we can sort of do that. But
No, man.
otherwise, we yeah, I sent the text to you in Sparta,
Oh,
and
okay, man. You sent it in the group text.
no, it was just a text with you and Sparta.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at it now, man. I'm like, okay, what's this? Okay, here we go, man. Here we go, man. So
Yeah.
you want me I'll just go down the list itself, man. Just
Okay.
since
If you want to just
yeah.
if you just want to go down, then I can just illuminate each particular point, or to add. I just kind of want to hit the main bullet points, and then we can kind of go from there. But just real quick, I don't know if it was done earlier. Just certainly for anyone coming in tonight, just make sure you hit the like button as you come in. Certainly helps the algorithm. And any questions that you may have in the chat, or any experience that you may have had, either working with a personal trainer or a coach, certainly let them know let us know if any questions that I may be able to tackle in that. But I see certainly Craig is in the chat tonight. Good to see you again. Good to share stage you on Tuesday, and just encourage you to keep hanging tough and to be able to definitely, yeah, that is, you get into rocky shape running up those hills, man. It's Walter Payton. I remember he used to take these hills, running back for the Bears. He used to do that kind of stuff. Yeah, you will definitely get in some crazy kind of shape just living here because of the way the terrain is and how you have to go up to get into especially into all the nicer homes tend to be up and elevated. So you got
Yeah,
these
of course.
winding roads that kind of go uphill and whatnot. There's one lane, and also this is British, since this Grenada is British, so everybody drives on the left side. So that is getting used to, like, guys coming towards you. It's like, wait a minute, you're on the wrong side. But I got to remind myself, it's like, no, this is they use the left side over here. So all those things you have to be mindful of when you're here. But
Yeah, you got
shout out to Craig.
you might as well do a show, man, on your trip, man, and just the whole explanation. But it's great how your experience there and just walking around and seeing the country side itself requires exercise, requires fitness, and the fact that you've had experience in coaching. In training someone how to actually get through I guess, a proficient workout.
Mhm.
You are even experiencing some challenges just within itself of just walking. So you're not even on
Yes.
a machine, you're just walking through the country and realizing, hell, 90 days of this, I'll probably be in the best lower body shape I could be. But also the climate makes a difference for those people. Also their diet. is a lot healthier than the state. So I'm sure you don't see
And
too many
yes.
350s, 400 pounders walking around, do you?
Listen, you spot them here and there. Obviously, some of the women, some, they can be a little on the larger side. So you can certainly see some of that when you hear. But yeah, generally speaking, there's certainly a lot of people look to be fit in a fit lifestyle. And it's interesting at the campus because, again, now if there was going to be one distraction, I would say on the campus, you got a lot of young people, and the way they get to class and whatnot, the women are in leotards and span. There's a lot of leotards and spandex because again, the weather is hot, and you're
Yes,
going
sir.
to be in training cross shoes. Because again, going up and down those hills and everything, it's a lot of walking. So again, there's plenty of distraction with the opposite sex here. It's very diverse here, and I was telling my daughters like, look, you need to find your husband here because there's
Yeah.
nobody. I mean, you in a place where you got people who are attractive and smart, right? Because
Hmm.
you don't get in medical school if you're not smart. So you got the best of both worlds here. So I'm telling everybody, it's like, look, anybody who's going to medical school, if you can't find your life partner in that place, something's wrong. So I'm not. I know the studies is there, but if you stack one of these brothers, I see these brothers with the muscle jacked up with the muscles and whatnot. They got the dreads in the hair, and they're medical students. So again, I'm saying everything, check off all the boxes, man. And you got brains
Well,
and brawn, or you got beauty and brawn. This is a
but
place to certainly
but but
prioritize
but
that.
but brother Bennett, that's always been the known aspect about college, right? That's the one place that you'll find your most eligible partners, spouses in your life who are on a quality growth level. After that,
Yeah,
you get what's in the pool. So yeah, hopefully, man, you know what I'm saying, she comes home with that bow and you can go ahead and pay for the wedding, man, and get
bring them home
everything
for
going,
Christmas.
man. So yeah,
Bring
man.
them home
Listen,
for
let's
Christmas,
get
man.
right into the questions, man. So I'm just gonna read it as it's sent, and then we can just explain it as you go in the process, right? So number one is now you wanting to start a workout regimen. So there's things you have to think about, and we're going, brother Bennett. We're going to a gym, or I'm talking to someone such as yourself about, hey, I want to start a workout regimen. So one, decide if you need a personal trainer or a personal coach. A
Yeah,
trainer. One is a trainer focuses, a personal trainer focuses on specific aspects of exercise and goals. So the type of workouts you do, the type of exercise you do, and what is your goal? Is it a muscle goal? Is it a weight goal? Okay, cool. A coach who is somebody who's going to be right there and they're going to coach you. It has a more broad and holistic approach, meaning they'll probably give you way more techniques in and out the gym. They'll probably mix them up, right? And incorporating things as diet. This is the personal
yeah,
coach will speak
and
about
yeah, and
diet.
and you have to as the
Okay, so they're going to focus on diet, stress management, mindset, and long-term outcomes. So,
yep,
brother
that's what
Bennett,
I.
could you just break down the differences in the coach and the personal trainer, and go into some of the details of what each may do?
Well, yeah, well, as I think my description was pretty accurate in that all coaches are personal trainers, but not all personal trainers are coaches. So again, if you want to talk about, it's just like on a football team, right? Especially at the professional level, certainly at the collegiate level or professional level, you have the head coach who's interested in, I guess, the long term outcomes. But then he has position coaches or trainers or strength and conditioning trainers to help with specific aspects of a player's game. So again, I think with a personal trainer, how you perform an exercise, very similar to what we did on the last show, how you perform an exercise, what type of equipment to use, what kind of goals specifically are you trying to accomplish. I think those are things that a personal trainer is going to be interested in. But when you talk about coaching, you're not just concerned about how the exercise is performed. Doing the exercise the right way is very important. But I think a coach really gets to the bottom line as to why you're doing it. What is the long term outcome? What do you expect to get out of this? So there's a mental aspect that comes with being a coach that you have to work on. Mindset is an aspect that you have to work on. And then again, you also expand outside the gym. So diet. Now, technically, most coaches and personal trainers, most of them are not certified dietitians. Nevertheless, based on their experiences, they may offer advice when it comes to what the foods that you need to be eating and things of that nature. Now, a lot of personal trainers will stay away from coaching or stay away from diet advice and those sort of things. One, because those are things that you cannot control. A personal trainer can control the environment that they're in. So the machines, the weight, the sets, the reps, that what they can control. But I tell people all the time, I can give you the perfect diet, lay out the diet plan for you in terms of how you're going to lose weight, gain weight, build muscle, whatever it is. I can't control you once you leave my purview. And so I cannot guarantee those outcomes. So I'm going to hold back. In fact, I wouldn't say that I'm a coach, certainly in terms of dieting. I don't guarantee those. If I specify what specifically I do, I tend to focus more so on strength training, more so than personal coaching, because those other aspects, I may give it to you, but I can't guarantee those. But certainly I can have a lot more control and have much more say in the outcomes of things when it comes to the training aspect of it. But for a lot of people who want to be coaches, that's a hard group to work with, because you don't control those outcomes once they leave your gym or your environment or what have
Yeah. So Brother Bennett, I guess if I was going to break it down to someone, right, would it be safe to say, okay, if I'm going to focus on a physical trainer, that's someone who's going to be specifically focused on gym and workout, gym
you. Correct.
placement. Probably they'll meet you at a workout facility and and coach you through those specific exercises and things like that.
Correct.
Or it
Correct.
could be in your home or something like that if you have the
Correct.
space for that.
Their
But
home.
most people typically do it
Yeah.
outside of their home and do it at a park.
Yeah.
I've seen them do it and it's just specific. Now the coach, like you said, may go and give you a suggested recipe of foods to eat. But ultimately, all of that comes down to you as the individual,
Yeah.
because you would not want to pay your money to an individual and they create these plans for you, and then it's a 6 to 8 week plan and we 6 weeks in and you still haven't started following the the food regimen, the anything outside of the gym. You're still, so yeah, that could be a waste of money for you, or it could be a great benefit. It's all about you, because they
And well, the crazy thing about it, I've seen cases where, again, those clients ask for a refund for things that the
so
coach or the trainer never asked, never said, never promised them. So again, I
yep.
think initially that initial conversation that you have with a potential coach or a trainer is very important. The personal trainer or the coach, they need to be very specific, and it needs to be written in
Yeah,
terms of
that's
what
being
are they offering and what they can do and what they cannot do.
yes.
So again, that really has to be spelled out before there's any paperwork that's signed, any contracts made. You need to really lay that out, because I've seen cases where, look, I didn't get the body I wanted in the 21 days or the 6 months or whatever it is, and they're still saying, but it's like, what did you do A, B, and C? So they still want to hold you to a promise that was never laid out, because again, your expectations wasn't there. Now, the one thing I would say that certainly what I have done, because again, a lot of times, and this is going to get into a later point that we're talking about, is again, how much does the trainer or coach care about the individual? There have been times when people have come over to my home and I can already tell that they're not in the proper mind frame to train. And rather than just going through the motions, I will literally stop and then give them the floor. And you'll be surprised how many times people are just in a different headspace. They just had a fight or breakup with a girlfriend or a wife. They just lost a job, or they have a deadline that they're trying to meet. The stress levels is something that they're dealing with. And then sometimes what I'll do is I'll stop it and I'll spend the next hour just talking to them. You know what I'm saying? Just giving them a floor to say, hey, what's on your mind, whatever. And I won't even charge for the time. Because again, we didn't technically train. So just my personality is such where again, I care about the individual holistically more so than the physical outcome. Who cares if you got big muscles if you still have a small brain? So I want to be attentive to that. So I have gone into that sort of coaching realm from time to time just out of compassion, but it's not something that I guarantee or offer with the contract or what I'm presenting, because again, I understand the things that I can control. Those are the things that I'm going to. That's what my business is based on. But being compassionate towards another human being who may be going through something, that takes it out of the realm of coaching. And I'm just Paul at that point. And hey, let's just break it down. Let me make you a drink or whatever. Sit down. We just gonna talk it out. Whatever's going on with you. And that's just something that I cannot divorce myself on. I can say sorry. I know you got your personal problems, but here we hit a train. I can't do that morally. I've always wanted to be salt and light to somebody, and if there's an opportunity, and also consider that they're willing to open up to me on certain things, and I think that's also a responsibility. So again, that takes it outside of just the PT role into a deeper role where again you talk about relationships, and I think that is something that it just happens involuntarily, but I have seen myself in those situations in the past.
Yeah, and one key thing is that you, I guess it makes it a little difficult if you have already established personal relationships with someone and they employ you to be a coach in a sense, because sometimes, as a friend, why are you pushing me so hard? I'm in my feelings, so I would be careful. If you're gonna train a friend, make sure you get everything just for safety measures, and you consider yourself a trainer. Make sure you
Mhm.
get things in writing, in detail. If you're certified and you want to do it on your own, create those detailed contracts. Make sure that there's goals laid out, specific instructions, whether it comes to meal plans, whatever, exercise regimens, reps, everything. Make sure everything is laid out, because you wouldn't want to lose a friend that you've been friend with since you were a child over a few exercises, over something that could help you both be better physically, but it ruins a relationship. So yeah,
Well,
definitely
well,
get those things.
how about a spouse?
Yeah, that's even worse.
So I'm saying. So, I mean, one thing I love about my wife, she's always been coachable or teachable in that regard, because I treat her no different. I treat my daughters, when they've allowed me to train them, I treat them no differently than anybody else. And so we don't have those lines where it's like, hey, you yelled at me in the training or whatever, and then I'm supposed to be your wife after this. We've never gone there. It's like we've been able to, again, compartmentalize and then say, hey, when I'm in this space, I'm your trainer. When we're out of this space, I'm your husband. I remember Jackie Joyner Kersey, Olympian, multi-time Olympic heptathlon champion. She was trained by her husband, Jerome Kersey. and they were able to again have that relationship, but still, when it came down to coaching, okay, coaching is the coach, but but a lot of people can't make that separation. So whether it be your wife, and I know personal trainers whose wives work with other personal trainers. I know them because again, they just can't handle working with someone that close to them. So again, so that's something also to consider. The relationship that you currently have with the person, as Coach said, if it's a friend of yours or even closer a family member, make sure you don't want to create a situation where your relationship is harmed by that. And if you think you may need a personal trainer outside of that, just to make sure you keep your home life correct, then by all means go ahead and do so. But don't wreck your relationship because you think, oh, well, my husband could train me for free. But what's the long term cost of doing that? Unless you guys have a pretty good relationship where that is doable.
But let's get it. Let's go to the next one, man. So number 2. So as a individual looking to work out, listen, learn your goals. So what are your goals, and do you believe the potential coach, he's on this side, physical trainer, can help you get there?
Yeah,
What are your goals? Do you believe the potential coach or trainer could help you achieve your goals as an
absolutely.
individual? Go into that space with that on your
So
mind. Go
yeah.
ahead.
So you got to understand, you're the client, right? The person hiring, that's the client, but the personal trainer or coach, that's the expert. So there has to be, I think, a good amount of time in communication where that trainer talks about, uh, you know, whether it be their past experiences or they talk about, something that maybe you may have heard of this trainer via referral. But again, when you go into it, you have to understand, can this person help you get you there? Like I said, some trainers only specialize in certain activities. You got coaches and trainers for specific sports like football or baseball or basketball. But you have to say if your goal is whether to build muscle, to lose shape, to get in shape on a specific athletic event, don't get the things confused. Like I said, you may need a personal trainer rather than a coach or vice versa. So again, this has to be something that going into it, you have to feel good about, and you have to believe that if I listen to this person can get me to where I need to go. So again, the interview process is important, and that's not something to rush. If the coach or trainer is not willing to spend some time with you to hear what you want to say, or to say, look, okay, this is what I do, or you show up on Tuesday and we'll get going, without understanding what drove you, why did you want to hire a trainer to begin with? I ask very general questions about their lifestyle and what if this is something that has been on your mind for a long time. Why have you got on it up to this point? Why did you decide that now is the right time? So again, this is a business relationship, but a relationship nonetheless. And therefore, you have to communicate to make sure that you guys are aligned. That basically what I am offering is going to align with what your goals are. But if you don't know what your goals are, I'm just here. I just want to get in shit. Now, there have been times when I've met people whose goals I felt were very unrealistic, and I told them straight up, I don't think I can help you. It's not worth your time, nor mine, or your money in order to continue this on. Because again, what they were looking for, you have to, again, there has to be an alignment. So again, be willing to have those. It's just like and that it's interesting because that's how even in your dating relationships, that's how that should work also, right? We talk about in relationships a lot on the show. How many times people go out and they start dating, but they haven't had the conversations. Are they truly aligned on what they want? If you're a marriage minded individual, why are you going out with somebody who is not marriage minded? So again, you have to have those conversations up front. And you have to have, as the paying customer, you have to believe that this person can help you to achieve those particular goals. And if you can't, then don't go into a relationship. Don't sign a contract. If you can, recommend somebody else. It's like, look, I don't deal with that so much, but there's a guy over here that, hey, give me my contact information. Here, this person can help you better. Again, I think it just helps in the long run when you have people who are know what they want and they believe that you can help them get in there because you don't have to motivate them too much to do so.
Sure, man. Listen, man. Great information, man. So if you want to work out, man, these are great things to consider, man. Also, I think this could probably be the first process in searching for a coach or physical trainer, right? What is your budget looking like? Can you afford to employ someone to assist you, or you may have to try other measures? So think about that. Is it a friend, or is it someone certified? Certified coaches and trainers may cost you a little more than that guy that goes to the gym every day consistently, has a great workout regimen, and you want to be a part of that, and they can definitely assist you. So yeah, um, just what it is what is your budget? What can you afford? Do you want a physical trainer? Do you want a coach? And also, Mr. Bennett, speak about the packages when trainers and coaches come at you with these big, $4,000 packages.
Yeah, well, honestly, I'm not a fan of those. Just generally, I'm not saying in some instances it doesn't work. Again, it depends on the person if they're willing to commit to. Like I said, I work with a trainer who has some clients like high end Wall Street guys in New York, and they were saying that for those guys, they had to charge a very high premium for personal training. And the reason why is not because what $100 an hour coach versus $50 an hour coach is not to say that what they were offering was any different, but in the minds of the client, again, go back to the last point. Do you believe that that person can get you there? And is this going to be worth my time? And for some of those people in their minds, they felt that if they only paid them $50, that it wasn't worth it because they're going to lose money if they're not working in business. It's almost like some of these guys, they make so much money for them to stop and pick up $1 on the way to work, they lose money. It's that kind of crap. So for some of those folks, a high price tag in their minds, forget whether or not the knowledge is any different, is such a degree that they have to play in that field. Now, obviously, $500 a session or even $250 a session is going to be out of the price range for most people. And so, again, that makes the discussion easy. But don't necessarily get dissuaded by the fact that the $500 an hour trainer or even $150 an hour trainer is that much better than anybody else. So that's number one. But especially, I'm very leery of having people sign up for these big time packages, 20 training sessions for $4,000 or $2,500 or whatever. Again, especially if the person themselves isn't fully committed or brought in. And so again, that's to be a waste of money. And so again, I'd be very, I wouldn't sign any time. If anything, pay per session. And again, see how you're feeling. Do you see the progress? Do you see the change in the physical? Do you see the change in mental? Try this person for a few sessions. And if you think that going with a long-term plan will save you money over time, then you may want to consider it at that point. But again, it's like anything else, especially if they try to offer that up front. I would be leery of those kind of things. So again, be mindful of budgets and don't even get persuaded by how the personal trainer looks. They can have muscles all over and six pack and shredded and whatnot, but again, that doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to achieve that because, again, are you willing to do what that person did to get to where they're at? And does that align with your goals? And does that align with your does that align with your values? Because for a lot of those guys to get checked like that, they may be doing things that you may find immoral. And a lot of those guys you've been seeing over the last few years, a lot of these fitness influencers and bodybuilders and whatnot dying early. I'm talking about under 50 years old. These guys are dying. So don't be persuaded by if the person looks, I mean, it's good if the person's living a lifestyle. I mean, going to an obese personal trainer, or a coach, that may seem like an oxymoron, to do that. So I understand that to a degree, but don't necessarily be persuaded so much by how the guy looks to say, okay, this guy knows what he's doing, and therefore let me sign up for these packages. So just being very mindful of that. But I would definitely do a trial basis, do a few sessions to see, is this person going to be right for you? And I think this is also going to come into play with some of the future points that coach is going to bring up.
No, for sure, man. Great topic, man. We got the Sparta, the CEO of Sparta HQ Network.
What is going on, guys?
How you doing, man? So you want to comment, man, on and as far as our topic is?
I actually wanted to join the show because I have a sour taste with trainers and coaches because I've been burned so many times. Like I had paid them sign a contract, and they ghost me, or they don't use. Okay, my line of work, for example, I'm a chef, so I have a taste of food, or in a kitchen, you don't have a lot of time to sit down and eat your meals, unfortunately. So, I always bring that up to the point, like, well, you can figure, I can do it. You can, if I can do it, you can do it. Like, but you're a trainer. You have different lifestyle than me. And this is where coaching's always been a sour taste in my mouth. Like, for example, I was talking to a trainer the other day, and he kept telling me, I'm doing the best I can. And me and Paul had this conversation the other day about my calories. I was a little bit under, and I adjusted that already. And my protein was done. He was just like negative about it. They're like, well, if you hire me, but I can't afford, $500 for 3 sessions. That's way out of my budget. And everything some of them are expensive as shit. I worked with him once. I got a pretty good workout. I'm not denying it. I was sore. I literally was sore right after the workout. So, by that said, I want to give the floor to Paul. What do you say to that?
But as far as, I'm sorry, specifically what now? So, him being too expensive, or to...
For example, we didn't know each other. I came to you as a personal trainer, and I explained to you, I'm a chef. So how can we work around that somehow to get me to my goal?
Okay.
I think that'll be a good conversation for the next question.
Okay.
Based off what you're saying, Sparta. Based off what you're saying. So I'll read the question, right? Well, first of all, let me make this statement. Availability. Availability is important in your workout and in hiring someone to assist in that. So, does your schedule align? Does your schedule and the person you hire to train you schedule align? And sometimes I believe physical trainers, sometimes they work in a facility, so they have to have their time slots allotted with the availability of the facility. And some may do that as a part-time job also. So have to consider that. So are you willing to make adjustments to meet them if you set a schedule or if the schedules are different? And since they have what you want, will you be willing to make those adjustments if they have the type of workout regimen and they offer the packages that you're looking for to get specific results? So I think what you were asking, this is a great time for Mr. Bennett to sort of tie it all into what you were asking.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's a relationship, right? And again, people have to make time and put resources in for a relationship to work, especially when you know what is required up front. So again, the money thing isn't easy. If he's charging a price that you can't afford, then that's not someone you need to be in a relationship with. Point blank, period. So again, that shouldn't be something that's is you should be upset about it. It's like, look, I can't afford it, so move on. Now, in regards to the lifestyle, you as a coach, you as a chef, and or any lifestyle that requires that you spend a lot of time in that activity, you're gonna have to make some time. Now, again, can this person meet you based on their? Because again, a lot of the guys, who, especially if they work at a gym or whatever, they have very specific time slots, and they're always looking to fill them. And if you can't make those slots, then I think certainly it's in their right to either insist that you make a change to that, or again, you find someone who can work with an alternative lifestyle. No diddy. But what I'm saying is you have to be able to meet them somewhat what they're demanding. Now, some of the things that you talked about earlier, the food thing. I mean, yes, there's if you for specific goals, there are some specific macros, right? If you want to put on muscle, you're not going to be able to do that with 50 grams of protein, based on your diet. It's just there's certain things that again you're going to have to make some sacrifices for to meet. And that can also go into budget because again, can I afford to buy more food, more of the healthier foods, less snack foods, and more chicken, more proteins, more whole foods, more things? Am I going to have the time to properly prepare those things? So again, this is a conversation that you have to start all the way back at point number one. What am I, as the hiring client, willing to do to meet what the expert, quote unquote expert, is suggesting that I do in this particular situation? So there has to be that meeting. They may have you do things that might be a bit uncomfortable, but again, if he's really a good trainer or a coach, again, he will find alternatives to say, hey, I understand if you're in the kitchen 16 hours a day or whatever, you can't just sit down and have a meal. Hey, he may recommend, hey, get some protein shakes instead, or some other strategy. He'll again, they can suggest some things, but ultimately you have to then make them work. But there is no getting around proper training that's either going to be intense enough or frequent enough or long enough. As we said in a show that we did several weeks ago on training in general, there's an inverse relationship between intensity, frequency, and duration of training. The more intense the workout is, the less frequent you can train. I would rather train somebody once, maybe twice a week, but make it maybe intense so that they have more than a week in order to do other things, rather than someone try to come in 3, 4, 5 days a week. Because again, because a lot of the guys I work with, they're all professionals, IT professionals and whatnot. So again, time is a premium. A lot of these guys are only trained once a week, but it's in that once a week they've been able to see results because the workouts are very intense. But then you got to ask yourself the question: can you handle that level of intensity? And again, if you can't, then again, I have to admit that I am not the trainer for you. My workouts are brief, infrequent, and highly intense. You have to see, does that work with you or not? And I'm fine either way if it doesn't. If you find somebody else, bless you. I'm not mad if you don't train with me. So again, that's something that you constantly have to keep searching until you find that right partnership. But do understand there's certain things that you're going to willing to do. You're going to be willing to eat. Again, because the trainer, he's only going to be with you for like an hour out of the whole week, or an hour a day, depending on your workout schedule. What you do after that, they can't help. If you drink, if you smoke, if you do certain activities that are counterproductive to the goals that you say you want, then again, a trainer can't be held responsible, let alone a coach cannot be held responsible for that. So again, that gets back to that internal conversation. What are your goals and what am I willing to do to get them? And once I have those identified, then who can help me get there? So it's going to take some on your part as well as the coach to see if they can work. But again, not every coach is for everybody. If the coach is a couple hours away and it's hard to get to them, again, now if you go there once a week, that may be worth it. 3-4 days a week, driving a couple hours to get to a coach, maybe not worth it. No matter how good they are or what their resume is, it doesn't fit your lifestyle. It doesn't fit your goals. So you have to be mindful of that.
Yeah. And that part I agree 100% because it's hard to find a coach or a trainer that understands, okay, listen, you're a chef, you do this, do that. They only care about, okay, you know what, you can do, I can do it, you can do it. It doesn't always work like that. And you just
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, empathy, I think in general as a coach is important. But again, there's going to be limits to empathy because again, you can only shortcut the process only so much. But I think certainly a good trainer will try to again work around a lifestyle. I got folks who are trained who are vegetarians, vegans. It's much harder for vegans and vegetarians to get the necessary protein from other sources to equivocate what you can get through animal products. But at the same time, I still got to at least give them, at least I have to try to say, well, can you do this? And it may require that they may have to eat more food because protein that comes from vegan sources, you generally have to get more of it. And so can you commit to eat? So I can't eat that much food. Well, then again, your goals are going to be compromised.
Mhm.
But you
But
try your best to try to accommodate where a person is.
But even with picking a trainer, also you have to think about there's so many hours in a day, and you may not be the only client of that trainer. So
Yeah.
that's why it's important to sort of look at times available of being available, and like Brother Bennett mentioned, he may be available for an hour, and if someone is showing up 10, 15, 20 minutes late, then that cuts into your hour and they already have other clients who are on time, then they're not going to jeopardize that business or reputation for one person who's a little bit tardy every session. That's important because those trainers take it, a good trainer would take it very serious because there's a lot of money to be made in being a personal trainer. But it also comes with being thorough and being timely. So if you know that time slot doesn't fit for you, please find another trainer who's willing to meet that time slot and has the flexibility. But most personal trainers or even coaches, a coach may have a little bit more flexibility than someone who's been a personal trainer for a living. They may not have that flexibility. So it also goes, I guess the next point goes into what you were saying, right? Because Peter, I would like to know which trainer or coach you would prefer. So number 6 is the personality temperament. Just listening to Brother Bennett talk about a workout, don't come up in there thinking you're going to sit on the couch every day. Don't come over not prepared to work out. I understand that he takes his workouts out seriously. And he's expecting at least some work to be done during that time. So, Peter, the question I would have for you is, would you prefer a trainer who's highly motivated and dedicated, like a drill sergeant style, or would you prefer a more laid back, walk you and instruct you through every step?
Actually, that's a very easy question for me. Me personally, I want like more a drill sergeant. Let's get to work. And let's push this through. If you're having a bad day, we can talk about it after the workout. That's how I always been.
Well, I don't consider that drill sergeant per se. Like, for example, there's some guys who yell and scream at you. Like, if you ever watch Go back and watch Dorian Yates' Blood and Guts training and his training partner and the way he goes at him. You got that, but then you got guys who talk you through it. Okay, so again, breathe. Okay, 3 more reps, 2 more reps. I'm much more that kind. I'm kind of like Bob Ross to an extent. You know, Bob Ross, the painter guy, and whatnot. I'm kind of more in that vein. Focus in. Make sure you're breathing. Okay, we're gonna go here. 5 more reps. Okay, 4 more, 3 more. Okay, I need you to push now. Okay, through the chest and through the shoulders, and then repeat again. Very much instructional along the way. I'm not saying, come on, man, what's the matter with you? I'm not that kind of guy. I don't swear. Well, I don't swear ever. But one thing that I do, a lot of coaches rely on swearing. If they're not dropping whatever, they feel like they're not motivating enough. Again, I never felt that I had to swear to motivate someone. So again, but you might be that kind of person. Maybe you come from a football background where your coaches swore at you all the time, and maybe you think you may need that. For me, people may say, look, I'm kind of boring. But again, I might be a bit more cerebral because, again, for me, having the mindset, even during the workout, even during the movement, is important to me. So again, I'm speaking to your mind. I'm not just looking for you just to move the weights. Is your mind connected to the muscle? Are you activating the right muscles at the certain time, especially in a compound movement? So when you're doing a press, your chest only works only up to a certain point in the range of the movement. The rest of the press is going to be your triceps. So again, how do you transfer that energy from your chest into your triceps at the end of the workout? And then likewise, as you lower the weight back down for another repetition, taking the load off the triceps and putting it back on the chest. So I'm working on this entire mind muscle connection, getting all of this to work together. If I'm screaming at you or swearing at you, I don't know, again, for most people, some people may need that. I mean, I know a lot of bodybuilders. I know people who work in that pace or whatever. And they said, oh, come on, get this effing right. Come on, get F that, get this thing. That's just never been who I am. So that's another thing about a personal trainer. I don't fake it. I don't become someone else in that process. I am who I am. Again, but that's the thing. Is my energy level, does that match yours? If you need that guy says, get that effing rep up, if that's the type of guy you need, then go to that guy. You will never hear me utter an F word ever. Especially when I'm working with a client, especially when I'm working with women. I've worked with kids, and that's just something that I don't do. And I never felt that an F-bomb was ever going to get you through a workout. But I guess for some people it does. And for those people, then again, there's plenty of guys out there, especially you go to these gyms, they're playing the heavy metal music and with the swearing, the heavy metal, the rock, and it's just the hip hop with all of the N words and the F bombs in it. And some people, they just need to be in that kind of energy and space. That's not my energy. And so again, I admit I'm not going to be for everybody. But the way I kind of coach through, the way I do things is the way I do things.
So Brother Bennett, let me ask you this question real quick, Smart. This is sort of a fantasy for me, right? So when I get one of these head coaching jobs that all these coaches are getting let go, right, will you be the strength coach? Hey, if I can get you 150, 200,000 when you come be the strength coach for a few years,
I'm already working on that retirement plan, but yeah, I mean, there's every types of ways to win, right? So again, coach, you're obviously familiar with football. There's Tony Dungy, right, and then there's Mike Ditka.
Yeah, for sure.
Two totally different personalities.
Bill Belichick. Yeah.
Bill Belichick, exactly. Or Bill Parcells. Yeah, Bill Parcells. So again, there's a lot of different ways that people get results. So again, it's really going to depend on what, and some people respond. You as a coach, some kids respond better when you get on a little bit. Come on, get up there, get that thing. Then some you just gonna have to pull them aside, put them in a corner, put your arm around them, and say, "Hey, you were kind of flaring out there today. What's going on? You better than that." Again, finding that balance. Now, some coaches, again, you play for a certain team, that's your coach. That's your coach. You're gonna have to live with it or quit. Or now with the transfer portal, if you don't like a coach, you'd be like, "Well, I'm bouncing to the transfer portal." But you got to find that. You got to find that relationship that works. And if it's not going to be with this person, then get it from somewhere else. But yeah, but being a taskmaster, that's just never been my, that's just never been my MO.
I kind of agree with Paul 100% of this, because as a martial arts instructor myself, a sensei, it's times that you guide the students and times you push them. But cursing at them, I think, is unprofessional, to be honest with you guys. And like, come on, motherfucker, move. And like, it doesn't do anything. It pisses people off. Now, if you're like trying to push it, let's say you lift, like, come on, push, something like that. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that personally.
Yeah. But again, we know people in that bodybuilding world, that F-bomb thing, that works for some people. Like I said, I'm not trying to judge it. I'm just saying you have to find that right fit. You know what I mean? But again, I've never found. Yeah.
I was going to say, I'll judge it for you. Don't be cursing at the damn trainee. Don't curse at the trainee.
I agree.
And the reason I say it, because you want their mind to be in the space of working out. You want them to focus on the task at hand instead of thinking about how you said certain things. I think it's very dangerous to have to be a trainer and to get, because people respond to words, and words do have meaning. So be careful.
Right. Right. Now, again, but like I said, I'm not going to judge it per se. Generally speaking, I would say cursing is bad for business. Generally speaking. I just don't see a need where cursing really adds any value to any business. But what I would say is this. Let's just say you're the client and you're constantly swearing. That's just your vibe. Now, again, unless you wanted the folks to be like, "Hey, I prefer you don't swear when we're doing this," or whatever, that sort of thing. But again, you take cues. Again, as a trainer, you can understand what may push and motivate a person by, again, how they speak. And so if they're the ones who are swearing as they're going through something, and let's say if you're generally somebody who does swear, but you don't do it for business, then you might want to even ask the question, "Hey, I see you swear a lot or whatever. Hey, would swearing, would that help you through?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, effing right it would." Well, then do what you want at that point. And again, but if that's what you do, me as a principal, I won't do it because that's just not who I am. But if that is, again, but that takes communication. And again, so that's what I'm saying. Before you get into any training, understanding the person, their lifestyle, their background, what motivates them, what turns them off, what doesn't. That's a relationship that you have to build. And if it gets to that point where that becomes something that, okay, if he says something to you, it's not malicious, it's just to motivate. And if you respond positively to that motivation, you guys, when the session's over, you guys dap each other up and leave and shake hands or whatever and say, "Look, I'll see you next time," or whatever. I'm good with that. But generally speaking, if I was training trainers, I'm saying as a business, I would never tell you to swear at anyone because you don't know how they would take it. And why risk it because you think, or this idea, you think you'll sound more bad, or tougher because you start swearing. And it doesn't necessarily true. It's the same thing with comedy, right? Coach, you've seen this too. Comedians, you see a lot of bad comedians when their jokes aren't hitting, they start cursing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are a funny comedian, you can be funny without even swearing. The swear doesn't necessarily add anything or take away from the joke. You can still pull it off. But it's a tell for comedians when They just start going to the crude jokes or the profanity because they're not dropping. And so it's a cheap trick to get them there. Same thing with personal coaching. You think that talking like a tough guy is going to make you sound or seem tougher to the client. You may lose a client, and you may lose a referral because you're saying, "Don't go to that guy or girl." So again, so you have to be mindful of that. In business, I'm really big on, okay, your language matters in business. And until there's certain lines that are drawn where you think that is allowed, don't do it. It can wreck your business and your reputation.
I totally agree on that because
Yeah.
cursing is not. Listen, I curse. I do. I'm not going to deny that. But
Yeah.
when I'm in front of my customers, I watch my P's and Q's. Believe it or not.
Yeah, that's again, words have meaning, and words can be harmful, especially if you're in a position to try to teach, motivate, or just, I guess, inspire someone. So be careful with that. So now, I guess it would be a good question, Sparta. Um, would you, understanding that sometime in physical training, there's required touch, right? Someone may have to, stand behind you or stand in front of you or to the side, whatever, and position your body properly to perform the exercise or whatever, I guess, activity you're doing. So do you, or would you prefer a male or female, man or woman?
See, that's a tricky question because I worked with both. I have worked with male and female, and I don't mind. I personally don't care if they touch me. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, because I feel very comfortable in my sexuality, so I know who I am and end of story. Same thing with Master Ray, my instructor. He had to, move us, touch us, whatever, and he made it very clear from the beginning. Whoever signs up, part of his waiver, listen, I do have to touch the students at times because if the punches are wrong or X, Y, Z, I have to correct it. So by that said, I personally don't mind, but there are people do mind that. So I would recommend, and I think Paul will back me up, ask before you touch.
Right. Yeah. Well, even if you ask before you touch, again, depending on what you're trying to do, it can therefore limit the training. Like there's certain things that I have to, get you in certain positions or alignments. Or again, we are in a PC world. We're in a different mind space. Your touch could be innocent. It's all about how the other person perceives it.
Correct.
And so if I'm working with a woman, again, it could get off. Even me as the trainer, I may ask myself, or would I want to limit myself to, do I want? And so the question is not only for the client, it's also a question for the trainer. I know some trainers, they don't work with the opposite sex. They just don't. Because again, they just don't want that risk. Because all you need is one to be like, he touched me inappropriately or whatever. It could have been totally innocent. You guys are one-on-one. Unless there's cameras around or something, it could be very risky. So again, for some people, it's like, do I want to go through this? So again, those are things you have to ask yourself. It's the same thing with getting a massage. Do you prefer a female to give you a massage, or do you want a male to give you a massage? I mean, a real one, not just clothes on, clothes off, face down, and he's going to be working you over. Is that something that you would be comfortable with? Some people wouldn't, So Hans at the massage parlor, if you're Susie going in, you mean be like, hey, maybe I prefer a female or what have you. I mean, those are considerations that you have to be mindful of. You have to be comfortable with that, but also the trainer has to be comfortable with that as well. And I've seen some trainers who just say bow out, or one-on-one session. So again, let's say if you're a person, some person they may work you out at your home. Some again not comfortable with that because again it's not a public place, it's not open, there's not cameras, there's not anything that is protecting you. And so, and I always tell guys, just in general, be very careful when you're with somebody who you're not dating or so an intimate like that, that you find yourself in one-on-one situations, being in a car with them or going into, private sessions with them. Be very careful. Keep that stuff very above board because you just never know what's going to happen. In this situation, or an innocent touch, a touch on the shoulder or on the hand or something like that, if how it's perceived. So again, those are things I would just be mindful of. And again, if that is a consideration of yours, then yeah, you might want to stick with the male coaches over the female coaches or what have you. So just some things to consider for the client and the trainer or coach. Things to consider.
Like a good example is when you work out at a personal training studio. There's most of those personal studios don't have cameras or anything like that, and I worked in those, and I had some great experiences and some really really bad experience. Here's a good example. One experience was a good experience. It was a woman trainer, and I had no issues. She trained us correctly. It was with my ex, we blew through it. I enjoyed the workout with her. Now, when I worked with another guy, he was a goddamn asshole because I walked in and I was with I was in summertime, so I was with it's a white beater. So I said, the first thing he says, dude, your gut is bigger than anything I've ever seen in life. You're fucking fat. Exact words he said to me, and just turned me off after that. I'm working to lose the weight. You don't have to remind me I'm fat. I know I'm fat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, those kind of those are kind of things. Again, your words matter, and those are things that you got to be mindful of. So again, language, putting you down, or that kind of negative motivation, or what have you. Again, I'm just not about that. It's just about not so much weight. You accept where you are, and basically, let's see how we can improve and build from here. But I never have a standard of where a person is. I can work with people who never worked out a day in their lives, let alone pick up a weight. And so again, my thing is I measure success on their terms. If I get you from basically barely able to lift 20 pounds and now you're lifting 30, 40 pounds, I'm not going to compare you to the guy who can lift 200 pounds. Comparison is again bad for business. So again, all those things matter, certainly in this personal space. But again, as far as the opposite sex thing, I would definitely again just use some judgment, some wisdom, open spaces, cameras if necessary, and just keep yourself out of harm's way, both as a client and the trainer, if you want to entertain that. But Coach, I think we have a couple more points. We can start to wind
Yeah,
down.
we got one more. So
One more, okay.
what's interesting, right? We talked about the aspects of personal trainers and coaches and things that are important to you, and I appreciate this last one, right? Because it comes down to you as an individual. Why are you wanting to work out in the first place? And I'll say this, then I'll let you rock out, Brother Bennett. If you have never really worked out before or spent years between workouts and now, we all get older and you're 10 years past the last time you worked out, I would definitely recommend talking to your medical professional, your doctor. Maybe ask them to perform some form of stress test to see what level of endurance you are and how you can sort of build on that. I wouldn't just run to a gym, hire a personal trainer who's been working out for the last 5 years straight, and he can put you on his. I would at least consult someone, preferably your own doctor, and they'll maybe give you suggestions on taking baby steps, things you can do that may not require a trainer or a coach. But then as you progress, you can definitely amp up your workout. So basically, Brother Bennett, explain why someone would choose to one workout or start to work out, some reasons why they may choose to do it, and which one would you prefer if you were a novice person looking to sort of start their workout regimen?
Okay, before you go there, I think there's one you kind of touched on it a little bit. I want to make sure that I cover this last point. I think part of what you said kind of goes into it. Risk is a big thing that we all have to be mindful of. So when you talked about going to your doctor to make sure that you are healthy enough. Now, again, this also gets into a definition that I defined earlier in other shows. There's a big difference between health and fitness. There is an intersection of the two, but you got to be mindful. Health is the absence of injury, of disease, or sickness. The absence of. You would certainly go to a doctor, especially if you haven't worked out for a period of time, or you should be going to the doctor every year. If you're a man over 40, you need to be going to your doctor every year. Yes, you get that digital exam. Yes, you get all that done. So you should already be up on what your health markers are already looking like and consulting with your doctor to see if you are healthy enough to begin training. And so one of the things that a personal trainer or coach should do is, again, and you only hurt yourself when you don't admit it, have some sort of health assessment done. Do you have diabetes? Do you have certain illnesses? Or is there an injury that you're still recovering from? Those are questions that need to be answered, and you only hurt yourself when you don't answer correctly. I had a guy came to me one time, and he was so gung-ho about training, and he was like, oh, by the way, I had a brain aneurysm a few months ago.
What the hell?
A young kid, I mean, gung-ho kid, it's like, you had a brain aneurysm, dude. I can't take that risk on.
I wouldn't definitely.
So I'm saying you have to be very mindful and intentional. Guys who've had cancer, now cancer's tricky because anything that like a lot of the times the treatments in that is that they try to prevent you from doing anything that's considered anabolic. Because as your muscles grow or you get fitter, cancer cells can also grow. So a lot of times, a lot of oncologists are not so apt on a lot of cancer patients or recovering going immediately into strength training because, again, it fights against, you got to get rid of the cancer first. But you're getting swole, but your cancer is also getting swole. They're along for the ride. So, again, getting the consent of a doctor that says this person is healthy enough to begin a strength training program. Again, this also gets into the specificity of what the trainer is offering. Now, if you want to run, if you want to jog, you want to ride a bike, you want to go on these trails or that in Grenada that I'm going on every day, that's one thing. If you want to do strength training, that's another thing. Make sure that is done. That you ask your doctor, am I healthy enough to begin this activity? And then what types of activities you're going to be doing. Now, again, a lot of coaches, a lot of trainers keep their people coming back because they have their persons doing things that require them to be there. That's a red flag to me. Because really, it should come to a point where a personal trainer should be temporary. I don't believe, now again, do people come to me who've come to me for years? Yes. But the only reason they come to me is for one reason: it's for accountability. That's it. But they know how to work out because I'm not going to have them doing things. I'm not going to have you doing a squat with 225 on your back, squatting on a medicine ball. But you have a lot of coaches and personal trainers will have their clients doing things that require their attention. Therefore, they keep hiring them back. But for most people, there are basic movements that you can do on your own, especially with the availability in certain places of certain machines, that you should be able to do on your own without any coaches. There should be a point where you graduate. But again, you should have a certain level of self-motivation. A lifetime coach almost seems problematic to me, Coach. Me personally, you may have a different view on that, Coach, but a person who's constantly having to go back to, if you're in therapy, therapy should have an end date to it, in my view.
Yeah.
You going to a therapist for 10 years, something's wrong. Or you had so much trauma that it's, that's a lot of trauma to recover from. But I'm just saying, but these guys, they have them doing risky exercises, dangerous exercises that require them to assist, because if the person did it on their own, they would be at risk. Or you have the person lift so much weight or doing things so fast or so explosive that you risk injury from doing those exercises. Safety should be the number one concern of every coach or personal trainer. Safety. Not how risky they can get away with something, but is what I'm doing, am I considering the health and well-being of the client or potential client in all aspects? Not only just the fitness aspect of it, but is this good for their long-term health? That is number one above all else. So I didn't want to let the show go on without covering that one, which is probably the most important. That they should certainly be, your health should be their number one concern, not how much they're getting paid or not how crazy they can make the workouts. That shouldn't be the goal of the client of the trainer.
Oh, let me ask you a question here. There are a lot of these websites, not websites, I'm sorry. A lot of these programs now, you can buy them online, like the Jeff Nipples, body transformation, Jim Sampani's Dr. Superman workout, all these workouts online. What's your opinion behind those?
They can be okay. I think if a person has a good foundation for training, or they've been training for a certain period of time, I think they can be useful things, because again, the basis of what you're doing. For a newbie or a novice to be starting out the gate with some of these programs, I'm gonna have some issue with that. So again, I think a trainer can be very useful especially if you've never trained. Getting someone who can teach you the fundamentals of training before you go out and hire one of these online coaches or whatnot. That's why, and me personally, I need to see you. You know what I mean? I need to work with you. How we do things in a certain fashion. Check your form. All these things I'm assessing as you're training. Now, once I think you got it down, if you want to leave, I got no issue with that. So we have to be mindful of that also as a person is looking to looking to hire someone. But these online programs or whatnot, again, for novice never work out. I wouldn't recommend those either. You got to be looking at that. Shout out to Craig in the chat. I'm not sure if you're the only one in the chat tonight, but certainly we appreciate you being here and offering questions that I know we've been kind of going through these points specifically here on the show. If there were specific questions, because I would probably have to go all the way back through and look at them. So if you want to, and I think we're kind of at the game, Coach, I think you had that one last question that you want to ask me. We can ask that and then again address if Craig or anybody else in the chat has specific questions that they would ask. We can kind of, hit those guys rapid fire as we leave the show, we can do that. And I think we can close out.
Brother Ben, I think you touched on it as far as the time frame, as far as end date. If someone, say if I was to hire a personal trainer or coach and I'm looking for my specific results or whatnot, what if I would say committed to a 3-day workout, what would you suggest? What would be a good time frame for me to work with someone who's training me if I'm committed to a 3-day workout? How much time? Well, the question I want to: how much time should I give there's a wedding next July. I need to lose 15 pounds. What would be a good time frame for me to start my workout how far in advance should I start working out to meet that goal for my event in July?
Well, I would say this: if the goal is weight loss,
Mhm.
then the workout is only going to have maybe only 20% to do with it. If you're talking about weight loss, 80% of it is diet, 20% is workout. So we would have to focus on that. And as I said earlier, for most people who diet or try to diet, there's a lot of stopping and starting. And what I'm seeing now in these times now, people go into those PL1s and those Ozempic things now. Everybody's, trying to, I've seen some folks, like my daughter, she was in a wedding not too long ago. And some of the bridesmaids, they needed to drop 20 pounds ASAP. They couldn't commit themselves to a regular gym regimen. So they went and they got that Ozempic or whatever that PL1, whatever that thing is. You know what I mean? But generally saying in as far as weight loss, they say a pound a week is generally a good indicator. You don't want to lose 10 pounds in a week or 15 pounds in a week or 15 in a month too fast. Because generally speaking, when you lose that much weight that fast, you're losing muscle more so than you're losing body fat. And you can tell when these people lose all that weight very quickly, their bodies look very soft. It's not toned. And so, again, you got to be very careful with those type of fast solutions, those quick fixes. Yes, you got the weight off. And then what happens? Once they stop taking the solution, what happens? They gain the fat back.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be mindful when people want to go to these shortcuts. There's no shortcuts. This is go back to the point that was raised earlier, Pete. And that, again, you're going to have to do the work as well as the diet. And you have to be patient and stay consistent to it over time. There can't be there could be an excuse, but there shouldn't be an excuse every week. So going back to Coach's question, that would be a reasonable approach. 1 pound a week. Now, again, the strength training is going to come into play because more muscle mass means higher metabolic rate, which means if you keep your calories in check, better weight loss. And when you take the weight off, like I said, you're not going to look puffy. You're not going to look skin hanging off you. You're going to look good because you built a core foundational muscle base underneath it. So again, that's a reason for the strength training and the muscle building. So when that fat does come off, you got something that's core and solid underneath it.
It's funny you say that, Paul, because I learned one thing with our last month's conversation is I train every other day now. I don't train every single day. I give my body at least 24 hours of rest for my training sessions.
Mm-hmm.
It's been working so much better. My ultimate goal was right now, and it's a realistic goal, I think, 10 pounds before New York Comic Con. And right now I am 9 pounds down. And so I'm one pound away to my goal in a month. So that's not bad, I think.
Not bad. But again, it's going to be about See, I guess my thing is I think more holistically over the long term. I think setting goals to a time limit in the long run is dangerous. Because again, what happens with Comic? Pete, you know what we're doing after Comic Con.
Oh
You
yeah,
know what we're doing, right?
we're getting my
What we're
quick.
gonna do?
Yeah,
What we're gonna do?
gyros. I'm not denying that.
Yes, and a lot of them.
Correct.
So again, you did all this work, you got that weight off, and then we're gonna binge on some gyros afterwards.
But here's my little pushback. How often do we actually do that?
I know, but I'm just saying in general. I'm using that as an example.
Oh,
But
yeah, yeah, I totally listen.
the thing, again, and I don't mind. I always, as I've said in the past, I don't mind taking some time off on a weekend if you've been eating clean all week long. On the weekend, eat anything you want. I don't care.
Like I said,
Clean. Give me 5 days of clean eating. Saturday, take your wife out on a date. Go to a nice restaurant. Go to the amusement park. Go to kids. Eat anything you want. The question is, are you going to come back Monday morning back on the machine?
see,
That's where most people fell off because once they get off, you're good. You can go cold turkey for a minute, but then as soon as you take that whatever, it's almost like you got to start over again. Most people do not have the discipline to again be able to live that balanced lifestyle of do the right things 80% of the time, give yourself 20% to enjoy yourself. A lot of people can't adopt that, but again, I just find that it's just a better balance overall. You're better to be around, right? So again, I take 80% of the year. That gives you 77 days to eat anything that you want. That's 52 weekends, 1 day a week to eat anything you want. Throw in Christmas, Thanksgiving, 4th of July weekend, your birthday, certain holidays or whatever. There's plenty of days in the year where you can eat anything that you want. You just can't eat it all the time. But most people can't make that distinction.
so this is what I've been doing. It's been working really well for me. I raised up my protein like we spoke about. I raised my
Mhm.
calories, and I lowered. I balanced out a little better for me. So I went from I think last time we talked I was 120 grams of protein, if I'm not mistaken. I'm doing
Mhm.
about a $1.50 to 185 per day, give or take.
Mhm. Right?
So that's a lot better than it was. So once
Yeah.
I raised those calories, I saw a immense difference in my training, in my mood, my everything.
Mhm.
So kudos to you on that one. Kudos to you also, giving me advice to train every other day because it works better because every single day is too much sometimes, I think.
Too much.
Yeah.
You don't give your body the chance to recover. Again, growth happens in rest. It does not happen in workout. The workout is simply the activator for biological processes to start happening. But you have to give it time to do those things. If you work out too frequently, you'll ruin that. That's why a lot of guys in that world, a lot of them they'll turn to the anabolics because the anabolics help you recover faster. But for the general population, though, you don't need that amount of you don't need that
The
amount of
only
frequency.
thing I think you might push back a little bit. Maybe I'm wrong again. Is I eat clean for 6 days and I have my cheat day one day. It works
Hmm.
better like that. And
Sure, that works.
yeah, let
That
me ask
works.
you, how do you feel about this new fad, the intermittent fasting thing?
I wouldn't say I'm neither a fan nor a critic of it per se. At the end of the day, it basically means generally for most people you're going to be eating less.
Hmm.
However, you decide to do that, whether you just stop eating less across the board or you do it intermittent fasting, generally those who fast intermittent, and for intermittent fasting, for those who are asking about it, is generally at minimum about 16 hours where you don't eat. So at minimum, it's a 16-hour window where you don't eat and you eat all your meals within an 8-hour period. And they say it has all these amazing effects, but at the end of the day, generally people who eat like that eat less calories across the board. And when you eat less, you typically lose weight. So that to me is all it is. But so again, I'm not intermittent fasting is almost like religion. So I don't get into it too much.
Yeah.
It's if you
The only
if
thing,
you believe that that's what gets you to your goal and you see results with it, keep on doing it. But I
the
think for a
only
lot of
thing,
people, it's not.
the only thing
I
I
don't
want to add
find
to
too
the
much value out of
conversation, and I think you're gonna back me up 100%, is all these, medication or over the counter diet pills work temporarily, but when you get off them, you're gonna gain the weight more and double sometimes.
Yeah, because again, muscle does not recover faster than fat does. Fat, your body can accumulate very quickly. You cannot easily reacquire muscle. Muscle has to be built. It's hard to build. It's easy to lose. Fat is hard to lose, but easy to build. They work in opposites. And so for a lot of people, it's not going to work for them where they go for these quick measures because what times or not you lose skeletal muscle, and that's not generally good over time. But I want to go back and look at some of the points that Craig raised. So Craig asked a question about his wife. He likes some advice about clearing fat around your wife's heart. Wife's heart, but the easy way for her because of heart problems. Again, that is let's see, better pain less today. Selected that
Just
might be
Rogue One.
yeah. So again, so for someone, if once you start getting fat around the organs, fatty liver disease, or around the heart, the thing is going to be the same. Any doctor's going to say again, you got to change your diet. You have to start getting active and do things that the doctor says you're healthy enough to do. Is your wife healthy enough to begin some sort of workout program? And if so, what? For her, she might only be clear for walking or light weights, but could she handle a regimented training program? Those are things that she needs to get assessed for. But generally speaking, the process is the same. You cannot spot reduce fat. People always ask us, how do I get rid of fat in my midsection? Or in this case, how do you get rid of fat around your internal organs? It's the same process. You have to create a caloric deficit. And while you're creating that caloric deficit, build enough healthy muscle, skeletal muscle in the process to boost up your metabolic rate. And then watch what you're putting in your stomach and watch it over time. There's no fast track to weight loss. Healthy weight loss, I should say, anyway.
Yeah, one
So
thing I do
it's,
want to
it's
mention is you have people like my buddy CQ, for example, who's been shot 13 times. He has a lot of injuries. Those are special cases that yes, he needs to get on medication and lose weight. Not That's not for everybody, obviously. People with major injuries from the military, I think Coach is going to back me up on this. Is That's an exception to that rule. King is another good example of that.
I would say there's certainly lifestyle. If you look at the lifestyle of a lot of military guys, it's just like football players, coach, right? You get out the NFL and you blow up to 400 pounds. Because again, when you were in the league, you were training all the time. You were training in the off season, you trained in the preseason, you trained during the year. You were on a regimen. But for a lot of people, especially ex-military guys, once they get out of that regimented lifestyle, eating foods that may not necessarily be as plentiful, because again, there's, I'm assuming that there's, coach, I'm assuming, are there some weight requirements for a soldier in the military?
There are weight requirements based off height. So yeah, there are weight requirements, and it was more
Okay.
so when I was in the service. Today, they the weight requirements are a little lax. I go to base all the time, and I see some chunky soldiers, a lot of them.
Oh, I agree with you because now the
I,
PT test, you can literally walk across the running test.
Yeah, they changed the whole format of it. Like you were saying, when you're in the active military, from basic training to basically the last day you get out, you're in PT. You're doing PT in the morning. Well, that was the old format when I was in. Even when you got out of basic training, when you went to your unit, you're probably you're jumping right in line with everybody else because Monday through Friday you're doing PT at 6:30 in the morning, and you running at least 5 to 7 miles. And the closer it gets to, because once you get in your active duty station, you do a PT test every 6 months. So the last 90 days prior to, you're doing push-ups, sit-ups, running every day, 5 days a week. Now, as far as working out with weights and things like that, that's more of something that you would do on your own. And you have the access to all the beautiful equipment. But yeah, most soldiers, the workouts they were getting just doing the PT was suffice. I didn't see a lot of bulked up soldiers like like just buffing chest all. Most of them were their physique was within weight proportion. Me, I was always overweight, but they do a tape test when you're overweight. Because for my height, I was supposed to weigh 180 pounds. I didn't weigh 100. Last time I weighed 180 pounds was junior year. But my neck was 18 and a half inches. They measure your neck and your waist. My waist was small. And I think they measure your thighs. So all of those were in proportion. And it allowed my PT scores. I was under the BMI is what they call. I was under that a
BMI,
great
yeah.
deal, and my PT scores were always at the highest. And they do it based off age. That's the thing. If I'm in my 20s, I have to do more. The older you get, the less you have to do. I would always have my mindset to max out my age at 22 to 29. I was always push-ups, sit-ups here, run. I would take my time, do about a 14-minute 2-mile, because I never ran. I just jogged along, but it was a fast enough pace. In the last 200 yards, you just sprint. So that would always make up a few seconds. But yeah.
One thing I do want to mention, I don't know if they do this anymore, but I know when I talk to a couple of my buddies, once they get out, I'm not talking about medical discharge or anything like that. Just regular, they're done with their service. They're required to stay in shape for 4 years because they can get reactive for some reason, like a war or something like that. One time, I'm not sure if they do this anymore. I don't think they do this anymore. But
I don't recall anything like that, because what it is, a lot of guys, when they say they serve a term or two, they don't make a career. A lot of guys transfer into the National Guard, or not the National Guard, but the reserves. So they'll stay in a little better shape than guys who just get out like me. I just had to do the best I can. So,
like one of my buddies, he was like, after he got out, he said he had to stay, in physical shape just in case they call him back for any kind of emergencies, like war kind of emergencies. But that's like rare case, like one in a blue moon kind of thing.
Really quick, one unique thing about the military workout, right? Say they have a consistent workout plan of running, push-ups, sit-ups, right? But they also bring in trainers and coaches throughout the process for maybe doing classes. And I remember doing aerobics 3 or 4 times in basic training. I remember doing agility drills. They would mix it up sometimes. And so that always, sort of kept you in an optimum shape, just being able to mix it up. They call it what they do today, like the big tires and the ropes and all of that. You get a lot of that in the military. You get the best of everything. So.
Yeah. Appreciate you, Craig, for being on tonight. Certainly, hopefully my advice was useful, and let me know how it goes with your loved ones, and you take care. But I appreciate your support tonight.
I'm right behind you,
yeah, but yeah, man. I mean, it's definitely, like I said, guys, it boils down again to that motivation or reason. Now that motivation can be internal or external. When you're in active service like that, you have an external motivation because they're telling you you need to come in at a certain weight or height, weight based on your height, or you have to complete a certain test in a certain period of time or what have you. Those are external motivating factors. But what happens when you don't have anything to get up to every day? That's what, again, purpose is so important. Why do you get up every day? And do you consider or factor in that your physical fitness is an important component of allowing you to do the things that you do every day? I mean, again, like I said, where we're at now, not to say that we train for these hills, but I'm just grateful that my wife and I, at our ages, that we're still able to do some of these things. Not as well because we haven't trained for them, but at least we're able to. And those are things that also help you out in so many aspects of your life. Because, like I said, these cottages, we got 2 50-pound bags of luggage that I'm also hauling up and down these hills also as we're going to our cottage here. So again, making sure, am I strong enough to do basic things? I got to help our daughter move into a new place on Saturday. Am I strong and fit enough to help her do these things, including, like I said, in 90-degree heat? So again, if I didn't have a certain core of fitness, then it's not about just having the big muscles, although that looks good. It's aesthetically pleasing. But then there's also a functional practical aspect of it as well that you want to be able to incorporate in what you're doing. So again, when I'm talking about your whole life, how it looks overall, these are things to factor into any regimen. Doing things that are risky, that can compromise your long-term health, I don't think the juices are worth the squeeze. So again, my approach is always going to be a bit more on the holistic side of things, but getting stronger, increasing your lean muscle mass, decreasing your body fat. I think those are good long-term marks and indicators for long-term health and fitness in latter years. And so when you're looking to hire a coach, again, these things should be at front of mind, not just the specific activity that you want to engage in, but again, what's going to take place down the line. Your long-term health, that should be, again, of paramount importance. Certainly to the coaches you choose to hire them. So I think that's all I got for tonight, guys.
One example before we get going here, I personally is like where I have to park our work is like about 1.5 miles from my building. It is a shuttle. I don't take the shuttle. I walk there and I walk back. It gives me more steps. It gives me, and it's uphill and downhill. Like after a long day of work behind that grill, like walking uphill is like the last fucking thing I want to do. But I do it on purpose because it gives me more time on my feet, more time, more steps, and more time, moving my joints. It's only the 1.5 miles. It takes me about between 12 to 15 minutes to get to my car. It's not that bad.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Those are the little things that you could, that a person can do in the meantime instead of just don't always look for the closest parking spot in the mall. Just park on the far end and just walk to your destination. You know what I mean? It's just little things like that. You can always find steps in a day to do a certain activity. So don't always look for the easy route, easy way out. Try to challenge yourself to do better. But I think that's all I had.
Yeah, man. Listen, man, great show, man. Appreciate everybody coming out, man. Thank you for coming up, Spartan, man. Brother Bennett, man. Listen, man, to me, you've been up here too long, man, because you had your workout today. You worked on legs today. You're going to have to recoup tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So enjoy your relaxation.
And I'm training tomorrow. So, like I said, tomorrow, after the training, we're going to be at the pool. We're going to be chilling. So, we're not even going out. Our driver stopped at a local supermarket. We bought food for tomorrow, so we ain't going nowhere. We spend the whole day here, and we just going to chillax and just take it easy. But yeah, definitely.
What time is it there now?
Same time as Eastern Standard Time. Same time.
Okay, I wasn't sure about that.
Yep.
Well, salute to you, man. Salute to your family, man. Make it back here safe, man. You know,
And when you get back,
take
we're
your
gonna
time,
schedule a
man.
workout together.
Sounds good.
All right,
Let's
man.
do it. Let's set it up.
Yeah.
Come to the dungeon. Come to the dungeon.
Oh, I
Come
will.
to the
Trust me, I
dungeon,
will.
man.
You know me.
Absolutely. All right, bros.
Man.
All right, guys. Great show. Let's
Another episode
wrap
of
up.
Next Gen Training in the Books, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good night. See you next week. Take care of yourself and be safe. Boy, look at that. Yeah.
All right, guys.
Good night,
As
guys.
always, there was a Spartan SU Network. He is Mr. Benedict, Coach Ferg, the Spartan, and this was the SU Network. As always, stay fresh, stay safe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.